Okay, welcome everybody. I'm going to do a quick hi. I'm going to do a quick housekeeping item, and then we'll turn it over to the group. So for today, we're going to be encouraging people to ask questions, make comments, and you'll do that by going to your questions box and typing in your questions. I generally read the person's name, so I'm going to moderate the questions. I'll generally read the person's name with the question. If you'd prefer to be anonymous, just type anon or something like that at the beginning of your question, and I won't read your name. I think with that, we'll turn it over. Go ahead, Leslie.
Well, welcome everyone.
Rayanne.
I'm Ann Grauer, and I'm president of the AAPA, and I want to just begin by welcoming everybody and to say that I hope everyone is safe, and I hope you're well, and cross your fingers, maybe even vaccinated. What I want to make sure you do is know that what today's session is really about is giving you a snapshot of all the work and planning that's gone into our meeting. It's truly going to be an insider's guide to our 2021 virtual meeting. What's important to know, though, is that this is not an unfortunate default to our in-person meeting. This is not a meeting that we're slapping together quickly and just throwing it online. What we've done is truly embrace all the extraordinary, nuanced, and exciting ways that we can connect using a very sophisticated virtual platform. And I think that what you'll find, certainly by the end of our session today, and hopefully by the end of April, when you've participated in umpteen different events, that this is an extraordinary new direction for us to go. So having said this, what I also want to say is I want to shout out, a huge shout out to our Vice President, Leslie Lesko, who's done months and months and months of work to organize all this and to be as inclusive and as compassionate and as caring as possible so that everyone can really participate this year, especially as we're feeling so isolated. And a shout out to the extraordinary program committee, which has also spent huge number of hours pulling things together so that it really is smooth and synthetic, and we're making new links that I think you're going to appreciate immensely. And then lastly, and it's not least, is I want to put a shout out to Burke and Associates, because without them and the extraordinary team who's truly been dedicated to making the AAPA run smoothly and efficiently and in exciting new directions, we would have been pretty lost without them. So a lot of what we're able to do today is because of their innovation and their willingness and their foresight in bringing us together with other scientific organizations that are in the same boat that we are in. We've started a consortium that's pretty exciting amongst many, many groups, and I hope that we continue to share ideas and resources as we have over this past year, because it's moved us very far. I'm not going to say anymore because you don't really want to hear it from me. So I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves, and then I'm going to pass it off to Leslie, because she's the person in the know, and she's the one who will guide us through our virtual meeting. So that being said, Leslie, you want to formally introduce yourself?
Yes, thanks, Anne, for that great start to the hour. My name's Leslie Lesko. I am the current Vice President of the American Association of Physical Anthropology, soon to be biological anthropologist. And that also means that I serve as the chair of our program committee. And it has been a wonderful program committee indeed, I must say. And so I will go ahead and let Lori and Steve introduce themselves, and then I'll come back.
Hi, I'm Lori Strong. I'm with Burke and Associates. So I've been helping you with your meetings for a number of years now, quite a few. So if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me.
I'm Steve Lee. I'm the president-elect and former program chair. I served as vice president for the last 2 meetings and have been really impressed at the work that Leslie has done for this virtual platform. And I think we'll be able to look at some ways to use this kind of platform in the future to enhance our regular and much missed meetings. So thank you, Leslie.
Thanks. Yours are big shoes to fill, and it's been an honor to sit in this chair. Well, I have two chairs, but to try to shepherd us through this really different time. I have to say for planning scientific meetings. So what we wanted to do today is to give you a sense of what the meeting is going to look like, because it is really different. As Anne pointed out, we just decided to instead of just trying to make it look like what we usually do, but doing it in front of your computer screen, we take advantage of the platform can offer and reimagine the meeting. You will notice there's a combination of things that look very familiar, but in a virtual format. And then there are things that are incredibly new and different. And we think it's all really exciting. I think this is a great program. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all think about it. It's like throwing a giant party, hoping people have a good time. So here we, yeah, for a month-long party for my colleagues. So the virtual meeting is going to be hosted on a platform called Pathable. This is one that Burke Associates is very familiar with. If you attended the Society for Integrative and Comparative Biology meetings last month or 2 months ago, depending on when you want to do the start and end date, they were hosted on Pathable. So our format is one that's extremely familiar to Burke and Associates. Lori and her team have just been amazing at getting us kind of set up and thinking about how to do this on this. Very excited about the platform. I think you're going to find it as easy as possible to interface with, and once you kind of get there, it'll feel very natural. We have organized the site around 4 main themes of how you will interface. We assume you will be interfacing with the meetings. One are the scientific sessions. We have opportunities for professional development. We have ways that you connect with suppliers and resources, the exhibitors that help support our meeting and also make that nice connection. And also we will have a whole set of events that are more along the lines of feeding your soul, the social events, i.e. So we are going to so that we have organized this presentation around those 4 themes, and we'll stop between each one of them and answer any questions that may arise around that topic. And then at the end, we'll answer kind of general anything. So we'll start with the scientific sessions, because my guess is that that might be where most people are feeling a little bit anxious about. But first off, the meeting itself, it does begin technically speaking, on April 5th, the Pathable site will launch then. You, at that point, can have access to all of the scientific content. The live events begin on Wednesday, April 7th, and they end 4 weeks later on Wednesday, April 28th. And the Pathable site, however, will stay open all through May. And our hope is that then people can feel like they had time to go back and watch content or to look at presentations they may have missed, but really wanted to see. Gives time for people to take advantage of that asynchronous part of the program. The first week of the meeting, we begin, as I mentioned, Wednesday, April 7th. All the times I'm going to present today are in Eastern time zone, just FYI. So our very first event is, oh, actually, I apologize for my typo here. It is not the undergraduate president's plenary, it is the president's plenary. The undergraduate shifted lines there on me. So the president's plenary is our opening event. And this is, I'll talk a little bit more about this under professional development as well, but it's oriented around inclusivity and how to be a good ally and how to actually effectuate that. It is Sherry Martz from Martz Consulting who is giving this. So recommend that you make sure you come for that opening event, as it really sets the tone for an inclusive meeting and trying to make it as open as possible, as welcoming as possible. So that undergraduate word should have then gone on the second line. So then we move into the undergraduate research symposium. That has been organized for years by Committee on Diversity by Carol Walsh-Scheffler. Again, she has organized this and put a huge amount of effort. It's going to be a fabulous event. We encourage everyone to just go from the plenary session, take a little leg break, stretch break, come back for the undergraduate research symposium, and then from there go into the opening reception. There are little windows within there for visiting the exhibitors, and we'll have some exciting exhibitor events, which I'll tell you about a little bit later. When we get into Thursday and Friday of that first week, we have our 8 2021 invited symposia, and they will run essentially back to back. So you can attend all of them if you would like live, or you can come back and watch them recorded later. The scientific sessions, we have about 600 scientific presentations that will be given at this meeting. It's a fabulous lineup, amazing how much science has been able to get done despite the pandemic. I think you'll all be really excited to see what our colleagues have all been up to. All of the presentations will be uploaded to the Pathable site before the meeting, and they will be viewable anytime from April 5th to May 31st. We had 455 abstracts that were submitted for the 2021 call that are in the program. These are in the 2021 AJPA meeting supplement, which is already posted and is unlocked. It's online on our meeting website. We also have 138 abstracts that were submitted as part of the Throwback program. So this is the one that we opened up in early December that allowed people who had a 2020 presentation scheduled, slated to be given, but obviously did not get the chance, and that then they could register for the 2021 meeting and present that same abstract if they had not put in a 2021 abstract. The abstracts will be on the Pathable website, but they are not in the 2021 meeting supplement because they've already been published in 2020. So there's abstracts pull from two different groups, just to make everybody aware. However, once you are on the Pathable website, there is no functional difference between the 2021 abstracts and the Throwback program abstracts. You'll just need, if you're wanting to cite them, you just need to know that the abstracts are in different places. So all of the contributed abstracts, be they from the Throwback program or the new to 2021, they were pooled, and then the program committee formed the contributed sessions out of that pool. So they're all intermixed with each other based on what the science is in them. So let's go check out the homepage of the Pathable website. So we are still working on the details, but this gives you a really good sense of what that splash page is going to look like when you first show up. Our cute logo. I hope you all think it's cute. And our four sort of reasons to attend, our four big categories of engagement. And you can see along the top that there's going to be the schedule, awards, sponsors. This may change a little bit, but this is going to be your main navigation tool at the top. And then once we are live, you can also scroll a little bit lower down on the page, see the plenary speaker, Sherry Martz, and also the winners of all kinds of prizes, Lifetime Achievement Awards through AAPA. So let's go and look at on the schedule. You could do a drop down that would take you into looking at all the things on the schedule. We only have one session uploaded right now just as a demo to show you what this looks like. This will be quite filled with opportunities of engagement. But you can see this is what a session will look like for you here. And then we can click into that. This is what a session will actually look like. So you click on that box and you go into this other page, and it has all the presentations in that one session. First thing to notice is that our sessions are much smaller than in years past. We wanted to make them much more tailored so that things could be more intimate, which seems, from my experience, to work a bit better in the virtual format. So we have two different types of sessions this year. We have our invited symposia. There are 8 invited symposia for the 2021 program. As I mentioned before, they will run essentially back to back on the first Thursday and Friday of the meeting. They are 1 hour and 45 minutes in length in terms of the live part. So these are going to be live interactive sessions. These will not be someone passively presenting their PowerPoint slides. Those will be put up ahead of time. And so these sessions will be very dynamic, and hopefully that will really help with the audience feeling very engaged. All of these on a Zoom format. It looks sort of like this one in the sense that you'll see all of the speakers, all of the presenters in that session, and then the audience can kind of, hang out and like eat pizza or drink coffee as they might in a dark audience, and then ask their questions through a chat function. And then the panelists are up there, but it will be very dynamic. So we have the scientific sessions, and then the second type of sessions that we have. Oh, actually, I also wanted to mention that 4 of the invited symposia from 2020 are being revived as part of the throwback program, and they are sprinkled throughout the rest of the live sessions. They're not in those first 2 days, but do keep an eye out for them, because they are going to be happening. So our second type of session, the scientific sessions, are the contributed sessions. I mentioned before when you were looking at that sessions page that these are much smaller and much more tailored than in years past. Now, the program committee went carefully through every abstract, and they clustered them into groups of 6 to 9 based on a research theme. So each session is given a research theme, and then your presentation, if you're giving one, will be under that theme. There's a mixed medium for this, so we did not break it up into sessions based on podium or poster, because in this format, it really doesn't make any difference how you presented your work. It will just be how people will engage with it in that pre-upload, the uploaded content ahead of time. But once we're in a session, it may, there's no distinction between how someone presented their science as part of that session. So some of them will be posters, some of them will be videos. Sessions consist of 2 parts. The uploaded presentations, these will be on the web page all together. They can be used anytime. The live session, they will run Monday through Friday from April 12th to April 28th. We chose the Monday through Friday in the hopes that holding things during somewhat typical business hours will make it easier for people to juggle all of their commitments between family commitments, work commitments. I know for myself, it's a little bit easier for me to move some of my work commitments around to make a meeting or a session or something like that if I know ahead of time. So hopefully that's the same for many of our meeting attendees. And then all of these sessions are also going to be hosted on the Zoom webinar platform within Pathable. And my hope with doing it as this webinar platform is that the people who are presenting their science are then put front and center in a very obvious way that will help your profile in your science, help people get to see who you are, the science that you do, and then also really help facilitate that interconnectedness of the 6 to 9 presenters in each of the sessions. So my hope is you walk out of this live session feeling like, wow, that was a really beneficial networking opportunity for myself within my specific research discipline. The session chairs were carefully chosen because the program committee thought them to be ideal to facilitate a conversation, a panel discussion, a Q&A, etc. For each of these research clusters. The actual format of each session will vary according to the session chair's preference. So what this means is if you go to a session and you didn't really like exactly what that format was like, be sure to go to a whole bunch more because they will all be a little bit different. And it also means there's going to be a lot of creativity. So we'll get a chance to experiment and kind of see what works really well in this type of a format in case we want to keep them something like this in the future. So let's look at those sessions again. This is the website, the page for each of those sessions. As you can see, each of these boxes here is a presentation. We can click on one and check out what that looks like. Here, you click on that, you're taken into looking at the abstract. And when I screen capped this, there were 35 days, 8 hours, 30 minutes, and 8 seconds before I could go to the live session, but I could view, had there been a presentation uploaded, I could have viewed it, and it would be available here, and you would just click play and it would launch within this window. There's the chat function right beside it. You can leave a message for the presenter. They can get back to you. It leaves a lot of room for interaction. And so with that, let's take a few minutes and answer questions about the scientific sessions, because I'm guessing there are going to be many.
We do have a few, and so we'll encourage people to continue to type them in while we're asking these. The first one says, this is from Jillian Bentley. It says, will we be able to access the presentations afterwards as well?
So they will be available through May, but after that they go down. So much we talked about this and about whether or not asking people to have them up for forever. And what we decided is that meetings are ephemeral, that people present research before it's completely done usually, and that we wanted to maintain that. So
I just, Jillian just sent another note in and said, no, this presentation, not the ones at the session. And the answer to that is yes. We're recording.
Sorry.
Available. My apologies, Jillian.
Yes. This is being
yes.
recorded and will be uploaded and available for everyone to see all the way up through the meeting.
Yes, good question. So this one is from Gabriella. It says, hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here. I was just wondering if you could clarify where we can find the meeting times and dates to make sure that we can really make sure to attend the sessions that we're particularly interested in. So program details.
I know. Okay, it making a program seems like it should be so much easier than it actually is. If I have learned nothing else about scientific meetings over the last year, this is a lot more complicated than I thought. We are so close to having something, and I promise before the end of the week I will have at least some a fairly I will have a pretty good program up on our website. I know I'm working on it. Lori is like, oh, you got the question.
It's a fair question, and coming soon, I guess, is the answer.
I know.
Soon.
I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Yeah, we will have the one that Leslie is doing this week, and while she's doing that, we are working on like the regular one that we would hand out at the meeting. So that will come up shortly after that.
Yeah. I know I just needed to sleep a little bit, but I'm working on it.
It wasn't a criticism, it was just a
No,
question.
I know.
So the next one is from Katya, and she asks, what is the point of a pre-recorded podium or poster session presentation if they'll be paired with a live session? So maybe talk a little bit about how those work, because they're pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a really good question. I'm really glad it got asked to clarify. So the idea is that someone can go and look at what each of the individual presenters did, what their science was, what their conclusions were, and then you come to the live event and you can see the through lines. And this is where it's really important for the program chair, the session chairs, and how they run the session, because this is where you're going to get the debates about methodology. You're going to get the tensions. You're going to get oh wow, we should really, hey, can I have this data set? Let me go use this with your method. You want to collaborate? That's where you're going to get the sparks that happen, and they only happen when you have researchers engaging with each other, and you don't really see those when you just go from one presentation to another presentation. The audience is going to get to watch what happens in the hallway after a session at a live meeting. So instead of those being hidden conversations that happen either at the front of the room or in the hallway, we're actually showcasing that as our live sessions.
Yeah, and
So
they're pretty neat. Go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, just to make it sure everybody understands what we're hoping is that if you're going to attend a session, you will have watched all those videos from the session ahead of time. So we're not playing those during the session. So you will go, oh, I want to watch all those, and now I'm going to go hear that conversation and ask the questions I want to ask.
But to be perfectly honest, at some of the meetings I've been to, I actually went to the live session and I was like, oh, I got to go look at that talk. So I did it the other way around, and I loved that. That was it's just as good that way too.
Yes. Okay. Next question is from Marcy Myers. It says, will Pathable be used for the undergrad res simp as well? So
Yes, they will. The undergraduate research symposium is going to be organized very very similarly. So there will be sessions that will be a page, and it will cluster presentations by topic exactly the same way that we're doing for the other contributed sessions for the meeting. What will be different is when people go to the undergraduate research symposium, you're going to enter into a Zoom room, and then there will be, each session will actually be like a breakout session, a breakout group in a Zoom room environment. So you walk into kind of this main vestibule, and Carol Walsheffler and others will be like, "Oh, hey, welcome. You know, where do you want to go?" And then they'll put you into that session, and then you can come back and kind of meet in both spaces.
Great. There are a lot of questions coming in, so these are great, and some of them are really good. So Creighton Avery says, will we be able to ask questions via the chat panel before the synchronous session, or do we hold our questions until the synchronous session? Another good question.
Okay, yeah. So I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking constantly. So if anybody else wants to jump in. Yes, you can ask questions at any time. And Pathable also has this really nice feature where you can send a message to somebody and say, "Hey, do you want to meet?" And it will set up an automatic Zoom room for you. So you can just show up at some set time to meet with somebody. The networking on Pathable is really nice, and one of the main reasons that we decided to go with Pathable. So yes, ask questions. We will have our student volunteers monitoring those. So a presenter is not automatically notified if somebody leaves a message in chat. So another way to do it is to leave a question in the chat, but maybe also send them a message. But we'll also have moderators who will kind of make sure that things put into the chat don't get lost in the shuffle.
Good. I'm bouncing around a little bit here, but this one is a little further down. It's from Leslie Gregorica. It says, will there be an app like in previous years where we can star sessions of interest, create personal schedules, etc.?
Absolutely. Maybe Lori, you want to talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, there will be an app, and it'll be through Pathable, so it will pretty much match the site itself. And in the same way you can do it in the app, you can also do that in Pathable. So you pick the sessions, and when we were looking at that full grid, there's a little plus, and you add that to your own schedule. So when, as one of the options under schedule, it's my schedule. So everything that you've put in there will show up in the app and will also show up in your own schedule on the Pathable site.
Yeah, like I really appreciated you know, on the Pathable site for a couple of the meetings I've been to using this platform, that I could start watching something, you know, be involved in something, you know, on my computer screen, but then say I needed to go change the laundry, I needed to go do dishes, because, you know, I'm obviously at home. You know, I just transferred it over to my phone and I took it with me while I went and did other things. It's very easy to jump back and forth across those.
Yeah, and that brings up a point that we had a few questions about watching the sessions, both the live sessions and the other sessions. So even the live sessions are recorded, and you'll be able to see those later. So if you miss one of the live sessions, if you have a conflict, time conflict, etc., they're all within they'll all remain within the system, within Pathable, until the closing date of the meeting. So that's a nice feature also. This next one is from Christopher Barrett, and it says, what is the recourse if we have audio or visual technical difficulties during our live session? And I'll start answering this one, then I'll turn it over to you. So we will have, all of the sessions are going to be staffed. So we will have people there, and the general rule is we start at the beginning of the meeting. Everyone starts about 20 minutes early, but as time goes on and people get comfortable with it, a little bit more comfortable with it, it's usually 10 or 15 minutes early. And we just make sure that everything's working, making sure that you're doing okay and all of that. And if you're not, we'll try to find another solution. So sometimes people end up dialing in, etc. We've also had to pull emergency moderator duty, emergency chair duty, etc. But yeah, we found that it works well to have staff members there and moderators, etc. So I'll turn that one over to you guys if you want to do anything more on that.
I don't know, Lori,
Okay.
did you have anything else to add? Okay.
No.
Susan Johnston is asking, I think the answer to this one is the same as the program question earlier, but it is, how will presenters know what format their chair has decided on?
Okay, so yeah, so we have asked that the session chairs, as soon as I have the program done, which will be soon. I had to make slides for today. But once we have the program up, then the session chairs will reach out. That's part of the session chair duty, is to reach out to their participants. So keep an eye out for that.
Okay, so this is a tough one. This is Katya is asking this one. How will you be protecting unpublished data? This is always a concern with online meetings.
Right. So we have developed a intellectual property and social media policy, and Anne, maybe you want to talk about that?
Well, we've used a policy that has been successful for other organizations. In particular, we used sick fees and modified it to a little extent for us. It will be up and visible in the Path Above site so that you see immediately what the rules and regulations are, as well as guides for presenters. So if you request that nothing about your presentation appears on Twitter or is photographed, there's an icon you use, and anyone who does not follow your wishes should be reported to us immediately, and we will take it up and follow through immediately.
If you'd like to see that policy ahead of time, I have posted it on the meetings page for the 2021 meeting.
So we just had someone post their question. They wanted it anonymous, but they put Q for question and then anon for anonymous, and then they quickly wrote back in and said, not QAnon, not QAnon. So that was interesting. And you answered their question in the meantime, so I don't have to say who it was. John Marks says, you guys deserve a huge round of applause for this work. Will there be a virtual book exhibit?
A virtual book, well, there are exhibitors, and so we would love for whatever might work with virtual book stuff. That would be fantastic. I can imagine there's lots of creativity and options for that.
Lori,
We
what
have
have
a few
exhibitors done
okay.
for other organizations?
Most of the books that have come through like Oxford or Cambridge or the actual companies. So what most authors do, if they want their books out there, they contact their publisher, and that will be on. And typically most of the publishers do discounts if you register, if you select the books through the meeting.
Okay, thanks.
So we have a couple of questions. These two are related, from Karen Rosenberg. Hi, Karen. And Anne Fizor. It says, can I send my students to a presentation and do they have to register? And then the next question is, thanks for all your hard work. I have a few talks where there are co-authors who haven't registered for the meeting. Can they still attend the session through Pathable? So similar question there.
Yeah, so everyone who wants to be on the Pathwell website is going to need to register. Yeah, there's just not a way to share it across that. Yeah. Anything else to add?
No, it's just like our regular meetings. People, unless you paid for a day, session pass, you can't get it. We don't have those kind of smaller units delineated within Pathable for just being able to attend a session or just being able to attend the day.
Yeah, we just don't have that. Yeah, we don't have that option. I wonder if maybe it's time to, or one more question, and then we can move on to the next
Yeah,
topic.
I did not get to participate in the practice, so I didn't know how much time you had for this. So there are lots of thank yous, and yep, I'll scour through these and make sure that there aren't any sort of burning ones that we want to want to carry over.
All right. Well, there's lots more options. Oh yeah, sorry, Lloyd. Go ahead.
One quick thing. I saw a question, and I'm sure other people have this. It's about closed captioning. That does not happen through the Pathable site. That needs to happen when you're doing your recording through Zoom or whatever you're recording through.
Right. Yep.
Does the Pathable site have a captioning for the live Zoom webinars and meetings?
No,
Not that I'm aware of. Not beyond
not
what
that
Zoom
I'm
itself.
right.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we need to think about that. Actually, because I think it's an add-on or an app that I have used for teaching things. Anyway, we should come back to that topic.
Okay.
All right, but let's go on to there we go. So now I'd like to talk about, just very briefly, the opportunities for professional development, the plenary and the workshops. So our president's plenary session, with that the big opening event that I hope you all can come to, is Include as a Verb, Act to Make Inclusion a Reality by Sherry Martz of Smarts Consulting. She's just fabulously engaging. I think there's going to be just a wonderful way to start the meeting. So I hope everyone can participate in that. It will be recorded, so we will have that. We do have 7 workshops or panels. I've been calling them workshops, but it's a little bit misleading compared to how we do workshops in the past. At our in-person meetings, you needed to pre-register. There's a limit on how many people can attend. This is not the case for 2021. Thanks to the virtual format, we can open all of this up. So what we did do is we could not, on the same time frame that we usually accept workshop proposals, we were still trying to figure out exactly what this was going to all look like. So we did not open it up for workshop proposals to come from outside of the AAPA organization itself. So all of our workshops are actually developed and sponsored by committees of AAPA committees. So we have 7 of them. We have the Committee on Teaching. This actually will be hosted by a Zoom platform not within Pathable, to keep it as open in the spirit of what that committee's mission is. We have a Committee on Diversity WIN panel. When something happens, the 5 things that I wish I had known when facing something. There's the AAPA, AJPA training for equitable peer review in biological anthropology. Committee on Professional Development put together the strategies for writing successful grant proposals with representatives from National Geographic, Wenner-Gren, National Science Foundation, and Leakey Foundation participating in this. And we have COD International and Task have developed 3 different panels for dialogues and decolonization. There's an Africa panel, an Americas panel, and an Asia panel. And these are set at times that cater to those time zones as well. So hopefully you can participate in those. I think those are going to be, all of them are going to be fabulous conversations, and hopefully rich fodder for professional development at all of the different levels that our membership and our meeting attendees are at. So with that, do we have questions about the professional development events?
Okay, sorry, I had trouble getting back.
Welcome back.
So not yet. Well, we have compliments so far.
Thank you.
Let's see. We do have one here. Let me just read this one real fast because it just came in. Oh, so this was about the ability to have additional features on the Zoom. So it says, technical question. I know the SVP meeting last year, word censoring was built into the chat function, which curtailed the use of certain words, including bone.
I know. Oh, and then, yeah, the people's names is terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, I wanted to alert you all to this in case you weren't aware. Does Pathable have word censoring? And if so, has it been customized? Great question. I remember when that happened, actually.
Oh, yeah, he did good.
Yeah, we have not had any problems with any words. We just, like Leslie mentioned, we just finished SICP, which has a wide variety of words that could have been censored pretty easily, but we haven't had any problems at all.
Yeah, and
they're very aware of what happened.
Yeah, they have a lot of sessions that, you're right, would have been censored just because there was sex-based things and et cetera. We do have something from Susan Johnston. It says, when will the PD events be held? Date range, question mark.
These are also the plenary session we're including in this is the very first day, and then there is nothing scheduled to compete with the invited symposia on that Thursday and Friday. We then run all of the professional development workshops. Will run from April 12th through April 28th, and they're just kind of scattered through the calendar, and they do run. Many of them run up against a live session. There was kind of just, we wanted to make sure all the scientific sessions don't overlap, so there's no overlap with scientific sessions, but all of the other events, many of them do run at the same time as a scientific session, but we have tried to scatter them around time zones so that it maximizes people's ability to at least make some of those events.
I want to circle back to one question from the earlier part, just because this is a timely one. And then the rest of them I've been answering or have already been answered as we're going through. So this one's from Devin. It says, my understanding is that there are two upload windows, one ending on the 19th and another from the 25th to the 29th. Is the second upload for minor tweaks or bigger changes? For example, co-author requests, a larger change, et cetera, on the 19th. So just maybe a description of what those upload windows are intended to do.
Lori, do you want to take that?
Sure. We want your presentation in there by the first upload date. And then if you have changes to it, after you've looked at it and thought about it and you have changes, you can go ahead and re-upload up until that second date. And they can be minor or major. You won't be able to, if there's something like you need to add additional authors, you won't be able to do that through Pathable. You'll have to get in touch with us, and then we'll have to go in and do it through the back end.
Okay, and we got a couple of questions here. Andrea asks, will the professional development events be recorded?
We are going into them with the option to record them. We will be asking the people who run them if they want to record them or not. We know that especially as we get into more of some of the topics, the people may not be comfortable recording them. So it's not determined exact. I can't promise that they all will be, but we're walking in kind of assuming most of them would be.
So default, yes, but not universal.
Yeah, I'm not making any promises because I might not be able to keep that promise. Sensitivities and freedom of conversation is really important. And, some people want to have a conversation that won't be, in existence forever. So.
We have one more question that came in under this section, which this is from Nicole, and it says, what is equitable peer review?
Going to have to go to the the workshop. Yeah, I think just trying to be more inclusive, and there's just all of the concerns about people's names, the names of authors getting different kinds of reviews, and the way peer reviewers are chosen, and all of that, all of those biases that get built into that, and that's what that workshop is trying to address. I'm sorry to be flippant. That was inappropriate.
No, that was
because it's a really serious
perfect marketing. Perfect marketing. That was a teaser. Okay, that's it for questions from this section.
Okay, let's go on. Okay, then we've got connect with suppliers, resources, and colleagues through our exhibitors. We have built-in times for people to visit the exhibitors on April 7th on that opening day. So kind of in between events, there are about 30-minute blocks that we are really specifically encouraging meeting attendees to go to the exhibitors and meet and interact. We will also have exhibitor workshops. These are all still in the development stages of being scheduled. They will happen between April 12th and April 28th as well. Wanted to also make a plug that if you are with an organization that might be interested in being an exhibitor, or all of you working at colleges and universities, you could well be an exhibitor. And we wanted to make sure you knew that there is a university booth option for $200. This might be way to reach out to students that into your program and get people to know what your program is all about. Maybe you're looking to hire a new faculty member. $200 gets you a lot of access into the membership. We are going to have games and prizes to encourage people to go take advantage of these opportunities to connect outside of the scientific sessions. So stay tuned for all of those as well. Lori, did you want to add in any bit to this part?
No, I don't think so. There will be a leaderboard. So if any of you are a little bit competitive, as you go through, I know there's probably one or two maybe.
No one's competitive in academia.
There will be prizes, there will be free registration given out, some Amazon gift cards. So make sure you play a lot.
Wonderful. Okay, so we also have other ways to connect through our meetings. So there are, all of the committee meetings that will happen for AAPA committees. Our sister associations, many of them are doing their own thing, but many of them are also having social events, at least on our as part of the AAPA meeting. So AAAG has a number of events and a social event, HBA, Human Biological Association, and then there is a social hour for dental anthropology as well. And of course, drum roll, we have the AAPA annual business meeting, the last AAPA annual business meeting before it becomes a different name. Anne, do you want to say a little bit about that meeting?
First. It has to be approved by formal vote of full members of the organization. So on the conclusion of that vote, we will formally become the AAPA.
So everybody come. It's going to probably be one of the most exciting business meetings we've ever had. And you can do it from the comfort of your own kitchen. All right, any questions about connecting to exhibitors, suppliers, and resource events? Oh, that bad grammar, sorry.
No questions for this section yet, but we can give folks a minute. Maybe we can answer one of the earlier, I did get one. So Leslie, hello, says, when is the business meeting scheduled?
Oh, it is Wednesday, April. I think it's the second week. What day is that? Oh my gosh. Pandemic times. That is
the 14th.
Thank you. It's Wednesday the 14th.
Thanks,
in the afternoon. I think it's like at 4 o'clock. Is that about right? Eastern time zone?
I think it's 3 o'clock Eastern.
Is it 3 o'clock? I'm so sorry.
Maybe 4.
I'm a great program chair. All right.
Well, there's
Steve,
a lot
I don't know how there are, but you know what? I always admire
working out ways for the voting to proceed in a way that meets the limitations of and the conscripts of our bylaws. So all members, regular members of the association, will be given plenty of communication as to how to vote. And you do not need to be registered for the meeting in order to be a member who's going to vote on any motion during this business meeting. So the only stipulation is that voting for major motions will be time sensitive. There'll be specific times immediately when the voting will open, and then very shortly after, voting will close. And this will give us a chance to be very careful as to make sure that there's no duplication of voting. I am from Chicago, you know, and also make sure that we have plenty of time to count and recheck all numbers before announcing any of the conclusions.
So Anne, apologies to the attendees for seeing the sausage get made on this, but I just did that with I just did that sort of voting setup with a group that had an international meeting that had to have secure voting during an event. So I have a whole bunch of ideas for you and software pieces that should take care of the problem. Because there are some hurdles, as you know.
That that we know what in the past that there's been a lot of conversation about the fact that business meetings are really just available for those who have attended in-person meetings. And that means that can be quite exclusive. So if you don't have the money and you don't have the time, you don't have the resources to attend that meeting, then you don't really get the benefit of a full membership. So
Right.
one of the, I think, the spectacular aspects of this virtual platform is that all members get to be participants in the business and the running of the organization in this instance. And we will work to make this as inclusive as possible.
Yeah, I think that's a great outcome from the meeting, right? It's definitely an upside for
Yeah.
sure. Let's see. So Tisa says, we'll have a better idea of the time, I think with talking about the program, within a week or so, right? I have a talk scheduled that afternoon and we might be able to move. So just a gentle encouragement on that
I'm on
program.
it. I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it.
Yes.
All right.
The answer is yes.
All right. So let's go. Let's go to the feed your soul part of all of this. So there are new ways to socially connect this year, given the virtual format. We have Black and Bioanthropology Social. We have, which is a new sort of informal group within AAPA. So many welcomes to them. This is an exciting new part of our program. We have the Committee on Diversity is hosting an international coffee hour. If you ever wondered what in the world does COD do, they do a lot. And you should come to the social hour and get a sense of the coffee hour and get a sense of what they're doing and meet those amazing and inspirational people. Also, there's the COD Ideas Coffee Hours. If you've seen Ideas on the program for many years and not known what it is or been curious about possibly becoming a part of that, go and check it out, ask some questions and learn. And then there is AAPA Game Night, which we're still in the works. The goal is for this to be association-wide, a meeting attendee-wide event. Come, just relax a little bit, have some good laughs with your colleagues. The aim for that night. The other new thing that we're doing is we're having 6 time zone social events. So these have been organized by people in different time zones around the world with topics that they think will appeal to their colleagues in that time zone. We have origami pelves. We have anthropology trivia we're actually pursuing gifts to be given out for anthropology trivia social hour. The AAPA is in LA without traffic, so you might be able to guess which time zone that one is organized around. An informal Asia Pacific improv event, remembering forgotten scientists, and coffee conversations and collaboration. So definitely take advantage of any of these if they're in your time zone, or if you're just happen to be up in the middle of the night and you want to connect with people on the other side of the planet, definitely do. This is I'm really excited about this particular part of our Feed Your Soul program. Other ways to socially connect is to get an AAPA t-shirt with our cute logo. You can warm your body and look like a twin with your colleagues, and who doesn't want to do that? You can wear it to your session. We can all, yeah, I'm into this. I ordered 2 t-shirts, by the way. Okay, just so that I can wear one every day. So the last date to order is March 11th. Easy way to do this, you just go to the site as if you're going to register for the meeting. Even if you have already registered for the meeting, scroll to the bottom of the page, and there you just click on the size of the t-shirt you'd like, and then you just proceed to buy that. Even if you've already registered, you don't have to re-register or anything. You can just order the t-shirt, and definitely do that by the 11th, because who doesn't all want to show up in the same t-shirt? And we also have, you can feed your soul with virtual versions of old familiars. So we are having an early career mixer. We're having the Biological Anthropology Women's Mentoring Network mixer. There's going to be the Human Biology Association social event. And of course, what meeting could we possibly have that didn't have an opening ceremony and a closing ceremony? We flipped things up a little bit in that our opening ceremony is going to be where we will make the announcement of the Lifetime Achievement Award winners. And the closing ceremony will celebrate with the achievements of our next generation. So our student awards will be announced at that event. And did you want to say anything more before I take them to show them what that format's going to look like?
No, just know that this is a year where we're going to be able to celebrate the major AAPA awards, both from 2020 and from 2021. So we'll have 6 outstanding scholars that we can celebrate their work and their contributions to our organization and to our field as a whole.
It's going to be really fun. And now I want to show you the platform. So we actually will pull you off of Pathable to another site called Wonder for these large ceremonies. So this is what it's going to look like. We'll give you a link. You go to the link, you put in the little password, and then you make yourself a little avatar. We'll give you good directions. I'll make a little video and also print up some instructions to make it as easy as possible. Everything will be in the same Zoom, Wonder Room. So every time you want to go to a ceremony or you want to go to that big game night, it's all going to be in the same room. This is what it looks like when you show up, and you can see there's a tiny little avatar here. This is me. I'm at the party all by myself, waiting for everybody else to show up. And then there's all these just little conversation zones. Oh, other people showed up and their avatars are there. As you get close to somebody else, you end up in this white bubble together. And once you're in the white bubble together, your video feeds connect and you can hear and see each other. And so it's kind of funny. So here we are at our mock opening reception last week, giving this a run through. So you can make the videos big, you can make them small. There's a chat function, and then you can leave the group. You just drag your avatar out of one group, say goodbye on the chat, and head over to another group. You can also look at the video feeds as small up at the top of the panel. Oh, and then Anne can break in. The proverbial, clinking the glass. It is time to make announcements. She'll cut into our conversations. You have about 10 seconds warnings. You can close up, be like, okay, let's talk about that again, and on the other side of the announcements. And then Anne shows up and leads the award. And then she cuts back out. You go back into the social circle. You turn back to your colleagues and pick up your conversation where you left off. And then you can hang out until you're the last person in the reception room at the end. And with that, does anyone have any questions, the last questions for the last minute or two of our webinar?
We had some questions about that Lori actually answered them directly, but we had some questions about the t-shirts and and someone wanted to know, they live in a colder area, what about sweatshirts? But would the t-shirts be mailed? Would the t-shirts be mailed? Oops, we do have a few more coming in. Yes, the t-shirts will be mailed. I think Lori, you answered that one already, right? But for
Yes.
general knowledge, we have a lot of thank yous. What time is the closing reception?
Oh, I should have left all of this open. What was I thinking? I'm going to go to it very, very quickly here.
Lori's checking for you quickly, I bet, while on
Okay.
that one.
Oh,
So
thank
while
you.
she's checking, we'll ask the next question. This is from Carol Ward. It says, will there be an auction?
We could not figure out how to do that without an elaborate amount of work. So no, there's not. Yeah, disappointingly, no, we couldn't do that. Save all those great things for the next time.
Yeah. Let's see. Karen Rosenberg says she has to go, but she wanted to say again how amazing you guys are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's very nice. A lot of comments like that. Thank you for hosting this. It's been so helpful for me. This is from Hannah Moots, both as an AAPA presenter attendee and as someone who is helping organize a virtual conference, this year's theoretical archaeology group meeting. So excited about AAPA. That goes back to Anne's comment. The more we're learning from each other and able to do these and make them more successful, the better. This is really, it's a that's a positive outcome of all of this.
The,
I don't
the
see any
closing
more
reception, the
Yep.
closing reception is on April 28th from 3 to 6 p.m.
Eastern.
Eastern. Yep.
Yep.
And it does, just for you that are not on the Eastern time zone, it'll show up whatever time that is in your time zone. So Pathable will
Right.
default to whatever time zone you are in.
It'll do the conversion for you. Right, exactly.
Yay.
And yay, that's a very good thing, right?
It is.
Or whatever, actually, it'll convert it to whatever time you keep your computer in. Some
Yeah.
people don't keep their computer in their own time zone, which is a whole nother thing. That's it for the sort of key questions. I think right at time.
Well,
I hope everybody
use
can make
that
it.
as a cue, want to thank everyone for attending, for asking fabulous questions, and know that we're always here to answer any question, big or small. The idea is to make sure that we're addressing your needs and making sure that you're comfortable with this new platform. And we're always, always available for new ideas and new directions, because you've been spectacular in providing us input and things to think about that we can then move on, so that the meetings become, even more inclusive and more exciting for everyone around the world.
Hi, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
See you in
Bye.
the
Wish you
virtual
well.
world.
Stay safe.